have an approval of minutes. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. First, can we approve the agenda by Mr. Forsythe, seconded by Mr. Lightfoot Sheridan? Is there all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have an approval of the minutes by Mr. Forsythe, seconded by Mr. Gray. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? You're on to the resolution. We have probation. Oh, there. Hi. We have a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract with Carol Poole Mala for cleaning services at the district office of probation, Department of Motor Vehicles, Emergency Services, and Community Services located at Harrogate Commons in Messina, moved by Mr. Forsythe, seconded by Mr. Smithers.
So this is a continuation of the contract. We've had Carol Poole since 2016. She didn't raise her price. Everything's the same. Nothing's changed. She just agreed to do it for the year at the same way.
Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Next up, we have a resolution authorizing the chair to sign a contract with Julie L. Lawless, LCSW, for counseling services of the probation department. Moved by Mr. Smithers, seconded by Mr. Denisha. Okay, go ahead.
So again, this is a continuation. She's agreed to keep all of her prices the same for the next year. We did just sign another contract with another provider. That provider does the Messina side of the counties, and Ms. Lawless will be doing the Gunmore side. So we're able to give clients a choice on where they go, the size of the county. It's beneficial to have one on both sides.
Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, Mr. Jason Power. Hi. Evening. I have a resolution authorizing the chair to sign the section 5311 funding application to continue providing public mass transportation for St. Lawrence County, moved by Mr. Akers, seconded by Mrs. Sieko or Ms. Sieko. Go ahead.
Thank you. This is just a resolution to have the chair sign an application. We did receive notice that the DOT putting this application forward. It will be for 3 funding years, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And we're working on the application now. It's due November 14th, and looking to have the chair be available to sign. That's right.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have John. I have a resolution authorizing the extension of the contract with Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield to act as a third-party administrator for the St. Lawrence County Health Benefits Plan, moved by Mr. Forsythe, seconded by Mr. Smith.
So on April 1st, 2017, St. Lawrence County contracted with Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield for third-party administrative services. Excellus has and continues to provide discounts of approximately 50%. There's been no change in the contract provisions. And in April of 2022, St. Lawrence County contracted with Blue Cross Blue Shield for stop loss insurance at the most competitive rates per quote secured in December of 2021. And we are now looking to extend our contract for third-party administrative services with Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield for the next 3 years to 2025.
Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Next up, we have vacancy review. Big words.
The vacancy review committee met on October 4th, and they considered 8 positions tonight. There are 3 on the agenda, and the first one is public defender Jason McGann.
Good evening, everyone. This position is for my chief assistant, public defender position. We were able to create this position to cover the increase of the salary from basic assistant public defender to the Harold Herring funding. This position helps supervise the other attorneys in my office. Before the vacancy was predominantly supervising the family court side of my office. Not quite sure, it would depend on the person, how I'll be using the chief assistant going forward.
Any questions? Oh, Mr. Akers, sorry.
So have you already sent out advertising or anything like that, Jeff?
No, I've been approached by a couple of people in my office, but I haven't made any decisions on how we will. We're struggling filling just assistant.
So has the Hurl Haverly funds been coming in like they said they were coming in, or are there deficits?
So they've been budgeted. The problem is we've been just taking no time to negotiate the contract. So for instance, we're in year 5. They're really starting to see year 5 plans now. So 5 months in to year 5 already. So that's been a continual thing. COVID really slowed down that process.
How much money are we expected to receive with that funding?
This year, I believe it's across, I want to say it's 1.5 million across all the providers. I can get you back with the actual.
So that's good. We won't have any trouble spending it, right?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, next up is the sheriff's office. Brooks.
Hey, everybody. So this is the corresponding of our human trafficking position that we spoke about and approved last month. We're ready to fill that position. This is again fully funded by the Howard Buffett Foundation grant for $1 million. We'll pay for the salary and benefits and all the equipment, vehicle for this officer. So I'm looking to create for this position.
Any questions? Seeing none.
Next, we have emergency services. Matt Dunner is off today, but Jonathan Mitchell should be here on Zoom to talk about this position.
Sure. So we're looking to fill our senior dispatcher position. We had a recent departure of one of our employees. It's one of 3. And the senior dispatchers are responsible for providing that oversight in the dispatch center as well as supervision.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you, Jonathan. Okay. Committee reports, agriculture and farmland protection board, Mr. Denisha.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ag Farmland Protection Board met on Tuesday, September 9th. And 2 big things that occurred that evening was a presentation by Dr. Todd Schmidt from Cornell University. He talked about the economic impact of the region's agricultural industry in methods to calculate changes in the impact of farmland conversions for solar arrays. We also had a presentation and a discussion with Boralex, it's a company that's proposing to build a 2-meter solar project in Brazier. And December 1.
Alternatives to incarceration board, Mr. Burke.
The board is not met.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Board of Trustees for Supreme Court Library. Nothing new to report, thank you. Emergency Services Advisory Board, they've had 2 meetings since the last one that I reported on. We requested minutes after they had sort of an ad hoc meeting that we didn't get the invitations from like till the same day on. And then they had their regular board meeting that was sort of announced last minute, and we've not gotten the meeting minutes for that either. Both Mr. Denner and I have requested them. I guess their secretary has some sort of a backlog. So I'm thinking of inviting them to come here next month and catch us up on what's going on at conference. Environmental Management
Question.
Council. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Have we seen any progress on the state level for supporting the EMS services?
There's a couple people who have said they will propose bills should they be reelected. So stay tuned. Environmental Management Council. Ms. Trinidad?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. So we met on September 21st. Our guest speaker was Catherine Cleary, the Assistant Professor of Environmental Studies at SUNY Potsdam, and she discussed with us the wildlife connectivity in the Algonquin to the Adirondack region. And there's some evidence that shows that animals traverse across that entire area, even though the St. Lawrence River is in between. So it's pretty interesting when they look at some of that genetic and DNA evidence to support that. Then of note for the rest of our meeting, the EMC has decided to move forward and be a committee of the whole and get rid of their 4 subcommittees. Now that we only have John Tenbush as staff member and Dakota has left, it's very difficult for them to staff 4 subcommittees outside of the EMC. So we'll become a committee of the whole and get rid of those subcommittee meetings, and then deal with things as they come up. But some other topics that kind of came up through our conversation, one of them being, and you just mentioned minutes, and it made me think of it. So one of the board members, or one of the committee members, was looking at our website and realized that out of the 32 committees, there are only a handful that publish minutes on there. So when we're trying to recruit members to any of our committees, councils, boards, to get a pulse on what's going on with the present climate or topics or concerns when the minutes aren't published there, it makes it a little bit challenging. And then we also just kind of were looking back at when the EMC was first founded, what was the purpose of its foundation, so that we can kind of move back into that being our mission and our vision as we move forward. Hazardous waste was the previous Saturday before that. There were 311 cars at the hazardous waste event. There's typically 250 and they were swamped. Traffic was kind of crazy over at the complex. And then the last thing that we discussed was the Grass River cleanup. I'm not sure if people are aware, but there was an ice jam scoured one of the caps. And so that they had a meeting about it and how they're going to remedy that, and if they're going to just recap it and how long before it gets scoured again. So there was a lot of conversation around that and how they're going to remedy that situation. And that was pretty much the gist of it. You're welcome. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Trinidad? Seeing none. Fire Advisory Board, Mr. Division.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next meeting has been actually been moved up. It's not going to occur until Thursday, November 3rd. But in the meantime, on October 25th, 26th, and 27th, we are going to be meeting with Zoom and reviewing proposals from 3 different vendors for a new radio communication.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Trinidad? Seeing none. On to the jury board, Mr. Sheriff.
Thank you, Madam Chair, the jury board is not met.
Thank you, sir. On to the planning board, Mr. Fay.
Planning board met last Thursday on October 13th. I was excused from the meeting because of a conflict. I did not have a chance to talk to Jason today, but is there anything I should be reporting tonight, Jason?
I can give a quick overview of it.
Thank you.
Two projects were reviewed at the county planning board meeting last Thursday. One was for a new Stewart's shop in the village of Governor. Makes up 6 parcels of land at the intersection of West Main and Mill Street. So just over after you go over the river on the right-hand side, just a little bit north from where the Dollar General store is. The applicant Stewart Shops is proposing a 4,000 square foot convenience store with 4 gas pumps. There's 8 pumps in total for gas gas, blocking the name, but you
I
know what
will.
I'm talking. Gas pumps. And that project was reviewed with some conditions. There's some concern about impact on adjacent residential land, so proposed that some fencing be added in addition to the buffering that was proposed by the applicant. And also just consultation with DOT to ensure that ingress and egress could be met and proper circulation for any delivery vehicle. So it was a good discussion by the board and reviewed and approved with conditions. The second project that was looked at was for a 5 megawatt solar array project in the town of Canton on Nickerson Road, just outside of the village, going south off of County Route 27. It was debated for some length of time, and the county planning board voted to disapprove that project because of its impact on prime agricultural land.
Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Portman?
When you take a vote on that, Jason, on the prime ag land, there's 8 members.
15 members.
Oh, there's 15.
15 members.
Is it 15 opposed or how?
That vote was unanimous. There were 12 members present.
Mr. Akers?
Don't have a question for the planning, but I do have a question for Mr. Denisha on the Cornell individual that came up and spoke about the impact of solar on ag. What was what were the highlights of that presentation?
Well, as you might expect, it was mixed. Depending on the type of agriculture that was impacted, whether it was crops or dairy. I think the big thing was trying to decide, we're trying to come up with right now apparently there's a number of different processes to determine what the impact is. And again, it wasn't, I mean, Jason was, you attended it, it was good information, but again, as I said, I don't think I did not get anything concrete out of it. There was a number of different ways that things could be done. But depending on what sort of agricultural use it was.
My question is the land that they want to use for solar currently in agricultural production?
It is, yes, it is.
What do they call
It's hayland.
it? Anyone else? Okay. On to old and new business. First, we have a little talk update regarding crystal permit application status.
I'm just gonna review something that I don't miss anything, given the importance of the topic. On September 1st, we temporarily stopped selling and accepting applications, waiting for direction from the New York State Police and the judge. We met with Judge Story and we were told he was waiting on direction from OCA. We have had very little direction from the New York State Police, and in fact, they were calling us asking us if we need anything. At this time, we are selling applications. We will also be accepting applications. I do this with much hesitation. The decision to not process applications was not an easy one, but I wanted to get it right the first time. I also wanted to protect my office as well as the county, being the constitutionality of the law was in question. Last week, Mr. Button drafted a disclaimer to be placed on all applications to help with that. I am a pistol permit holder, so I understand the public's frustration. With so many changes happening, sometimes daily, I didn't want to inconvenience or confuse the public any more than they already were. As it is, we still don't know what is going to happen with those applications that were turned in, prior to September 1st, but yet not signed by the judge. We get calls every day and we have to tell people that we don't have any direction to give them yet.
Some people travel quite a distance to get to our office. If more information or documentation is going to be required, that could be a huge inconvenience for some people. We have around 400 applications out waiting for investigations to be returned to us. We have not received any completed investigations from the New York State Police and very few from the village police agencies since the new law took effect. The only office that is now returning investigations to us is the sheriff's office. With no clear direction from the state, I believe every department and agency involved was wondering where to turn. The first copy of the new applications we got did not include a spot for a person's full social security number. We had those applications printed and ready to go, and then we're told the spot for the full social security number was going to be required. So a new application was forwarded to us. The cost of printing the now 2 original applications being a total of 8 pages from 4 pages, to not to mention the 8 documents already required in the application. All of that expense falls on my office. The New York State Police have requested the class certificate be included in the application when sent to them. However, no other agency, including the sheriff's office, has given us that request. But again, the local agencies do not seem to be doing the investigations right now, so we don't know what their request is going to be. We have processed almost 10,000 pistol transactions during this year. So having everything at the same time of submission is the ideal way to do this. Having several different processes will only add time and therefore expense to this situation. The total cost collected at the time of application is $96.25. The Department of Criminal Justice gets $88.25 of that. My office gets $8 for pictures and $10 for the application. This hardly covers the expenses. As far as I know, the sheriff's office and the local police agencies get nothing for performing their investigations. One concern both myself and the New York State Police were having was that taking applications without the public having all the information will lead to more frustration and confusion. Rumor has it that the cost of the class may be anywhere from $150 to $600. The public could waste the $96.25 when they may not be able to afford the class. This could leave hundreds of applications on the desks of police agencies and desks of the county clerk staff after hours have been spent processing applications and investigating applicants. This results in many, many hours of time wasted with applications going nowhere without that certificate. With the Department of Criminal Justice receiving most of the money and local agencies doing most of the work, this amounts to many hours of wasted taxpayer dollars.
Mr. Akers?
So I understand where you're coming from. It'd been great if you read that off to us September 2nd, or whenever we met.
Mhm.
So I've never had constituents as angry as they were when they saw that on the Channel 7 News, completely caught off guard. That's the one thing. But I agree with everything that you've said that you've done. You know, and I blame, it's this crazy law, and it's the state. And they aren't prepared. I've got firearms dealers that have called the state police, and the guy says, well, it's on your website. The guy says, well, I'm on my phone, I'm on your website right now, and it's not there. Oh, okay. So total confusion. And that's what happens when you throw something together in 48 hours and jam it down the public's throat. No concern about their constitutional rights and the services that the local counties provide. One of the questions I have is I've got a firearms dealer that can't sell semi-automatic rifles. He thinks that other counties are actually putting those semi-automatic rifles on their pistol nets if the gentleman or the gentlewoman has a pistol. Do you have any knowledge of that? He believes right now he can't sell a semi-automatic rifle.
That's going to be up to the judge, so it's not my decision, and I have no information.
You're not, are you in consultation with other counties, what they're doing? Did other counties
Yes,
do exactly what the judge and you did?
some are doing things totally different, and some are doing the same. Some have already been processing, others have not. Basically, it comes down to what the judge decides to do.
So I support your decision. It's just the timing is really bad. I mean, it was what, last week was what, October 10th, say, for example. Total surprise. That's not first, that's for stuff in life, right? Thank you.
Mr. Ledford?
Just a comment, and I agree 100% with the law and trying to figure out how you as a county clerk are going to do the right thing, using the right forms and the right procedure. I can understand your frustration. The state police have come out with a new permit application. And on that, in the heading of it, it also addresses registration and permitting of possession of a semi-automatic weapon. If you go online, it's online. I don't know if it's something that you're aware of, or that, is that the form that you are using? The one that they have on their website?
Yes.
Okay, so if somebody wants to, at least at this point in time, because that apparently is sort of in the weeds, that particular part of licensing those or permitting those who wish to possess a semi-automatic weapon, that really was not fully addressed in that federal court, to the best of my knowledge. That was not touched, and it was not part of the TRO. Is that correct, Mr. Button? If I may direct that to Mr.
Oh,
Button.
absolutely. Yes,
Thank
please.
you. It was and it wasn't. So first of all, the state troopers, developed application had significant glaring defects in it. Namely, I think everyone has already heard, on August 31st, Judge Sutterby out of the Northern District of New York issued an opinion denying the initial application for a preliminary injunction, but rendering 22 pages of decision outlining where he sort of agreed with the position the plaintiffs taken. During the course of the last 3 weeks, we had a TRO deposition. TRO addressed the fact that the application itself was defective. It included obviously the social media requirement, it included the cohabitancy contacts, it required an in-person meeting with the applicant. There were a whole host of problems with the application itself. And one of the things that he commented in a footnote was that the new requirement of licensure associated with the semi-automatic weapon should arguably be taken care of by the fact that people already are carrying pistol licenses and have already gone through a process of being approved with a pistol license. So the footnote somewhat alludes to the idea that if you already have a pistol license, you're naturally qualified for the semi-automatic weapon. Some counties, their county judges have taken that attitude. Lewis County, for example, it's my understanding the judge down there has said, hey, we're just going to go ahead and allow for an amendment of the license itself, and we'll place on the license card itself, not only that you're licensed to carry concealed among pistol, but licensed to carry a semi-automatic weapon, or actually possess a semi-automatic weapon. So I know that's a long way to get to your answer, but it's a yes and no answer.
Thank you. So can you tell me how you're handling that particular part of this, or has it become part and parcel of the overall way that you're taking care of this by not accepting any additional applications?
Well, yesterday we spoke with the judge and he has verbally told us we could go ahead and put it on pistol permit cards that people already possess. So if you're a pistol permit holder in good standing, then we can just go ahead and give you the wording on your card that says that you can purchase a semi-automatic rifle.
Okay, if I may, I have another question. With respect to that, people that do not have a pistol permit currently and want to possess a semi-automatic weapon need to be permitted to do that. What's the process, if you know, for them to get a permit for that semi-automatic weapon?
Going to be the same process as getting a pistol permit. There's a spot on the application where they can say they just want to have a semi-automatic rifle license, not necessarily a pistol permit.
Okay, one other. If you already have one and you've had it prior to September 1st, My reading is that there's no requirement that you have a permit.
For the semi-automatic rifle.
Correct.
I think that's questionable. I am not sure I have the answer to that right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be on the judge.
All right. Would you care, to- if I may?
Certainly, be more than happy to. I hate to sort of rehash because I know the board is aware of what.
Well, what I'm trying to do is, you get people watching this, it'll be on the news tomorrow, and I think that the information out there for people that have a ton of questions about this might be enlightening.
Sure. One of the major holdings of Judge Sutton's decision granting TRO was essentially a premise that was establishing that it shifted back the burden onto the state to demonstrate why someone should not be permitted to possess a license, moving us from essentially a may issue to a shall issue state. And that was in the context of all weapons, not just the pistol, but the semi-automatic weapons as well. I think everybody is aware that the state went ahead, filed an application for a stay in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals with the TRO. That stay was administratively granted. The permanent stay itself has not been addressed as of yet. Meanwhile, just past Friday, we got notification that preliminary injunction hearing, continuation of the TRO, has now been scheduled, moved up, actually. So now we're going to hold that hearing on October 25th, which may moot out the stay that has occurred in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. I give you that information because if Judge Sutton comes down the way that he did with the TRO, then you're right. There is nothing further that would be required. Those individuals that possess prior to September 1st would not take any further action. They would be legitimate. There's also a constitutional principle known as ex post facto. You can't criminalize activities that people have previously done through a retroactive criminal statute. There's a prohibition found within the United States Constitution to imposing laws that have ex post facto application. So I think your argument is bolstered even further by that prohibition on ex post facto enactment. But that's sort of a long way of getting to the answer that I think you're looking for. But I think if Judge Sutton comes down the way he came down on the TRO with permanent injunction, nothing would have to happen for those who own it in parts.
Thank you, Mr. Madam Chairman, thank you.
So just to clarify for our citizens, constituents, as of right now, anybody with a pistol permit, the judge is allowing, if they buy a new semi-automatic rifle, that they have to come in and they show you, the clerk, the pistol license, and then that rifle will actually be put on that pistol permit?
That's gonna be up to the judge as well, and he has not informed me how he wants that.
Okay, but if they have a pistol permit, they can purchase a semi-automatic.
I believe so, as long as that wording is on the pistol permit card that they are basically have a license in the state.
Okay, so are you, I think Mr. Button, the answer this.
And perhaps I need to clarify the semi-automatic weapon provision that's found within the CCIA actually deals with subsequent acquisition, not possession. So we're talking about acquiring post September 1st. Again, going back to Joe's question, if you owned it prior to September 1st, you're not going thereafter to seek an acquisition.
Okay, but my point is this, the secondary point is, if previously you had bought semi-automatic rifles, and you do not have a pistol permit, you will not be allowed to purchase a new semi-automatic, correct?
You would not be permitted to purchase a new semi-automatic.
So for those that have a pistol permit and wish to purchase a semi-automatic for whatever, elk hunting or whatever, for a fall trip, they're going to have to get the language on their pistol permit first from your office.
They don't have a pistol permit, they have to apply.
I know, but those that have a pistol permit, say I
They
have
would
a
have
pistol
to-
permit,
Yeah, they
So-
have to come to our office and get the language on their card.
okay, and so you're prepared to do that
We will be Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning? Okay, and will it be just a statement of?
Yep, it
prints?
actually says I have a copy of what they're gonna put onto it. It is going to say license type carry concealed / semi-automatic rifle.
Well, that's important for their firearm dealers to know that,
Yes.
because they have inventory, this is the season. Okay, So that'll be Wednesday morning, that will be applicable. We're gonna give it to Rouge, probably, but you standing like.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, thanks, Sandy. Thank you, Mr. Butler.
Mr. Quick.
Thank you, sir. So again, just for clarification, Kevin put it on the permit itself, that you will begin accepting applications, but it'll have a disclaimer from our county attorney on there as far as the administration of that.
Yes, we've already started accepting them. Nobody's brought one in yet, but yes, we are accepting.
Thank you.
Mr. Quirk.
Center fire rifles. Rimfire, semi-automatic, shotguns, semi-automatic. Where we stand,
Definition you brought up.
everything.
Mr. Sheriff.
Sandy, you mentioned several times it's up to the judge, it's up to the judge. We're talking about Judge Story.
Correct.
And what you're saying is there's 62 counties in the state of New York. Conceivably, this could be, I don't know, 30 some counties would be doing it the way our judge wants it, and another 30 who could be doing it another way.
Yes,
There's
every
only two-
county,
On only two decisions, is either one way or the other, or are they all gonna vary on all
they
kinds of
could
different?
vary in all kinds of different things. They always
Beautiful.
have. They. so the judge
Congratulations
always
to the
gives-
state of New York and they're coming up with that kind of legislation. I'll be ashamed.
It makes it difficult for people transferring from one county to another.
Mr. Smithers.
Sounds like you're in a very difficult no-win situation.
Something like that, yeah.
And the state's government. I just want to go over the numbers that you gave again. I believe you said you had 10,000 pistol permit applications to date during this year.
10,000 transactions, so that's somebody coming in and adding a pistol or taking a pistol off or those sorts of things. So 10,000 transactions altogether, yes.
So they would not be the 9650 fee, all of those
No,
transactions.
those are either $5 or $3, depending on what they're doing.
Out of the ones that have been 9650 fee, you said you give about $10 out of that?
Yes, when we sell the application, it costs $10. If you were to come in and purchase an application, it's 10. Then when you bring your application in, we take the $88.25 for DCJS and then $8 to take your photo.
And then, so how much then do you send to the state? Out of that?
The $88.25
I needed to know that. Thank you.
goes to DCJS.
No one else has any questions?
Thank you.
So we have need for executive session for appointment, correct? I have a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Forrest, second by Mr. Fay. We're gonna pause for a minute while we. There. Back live here in the meeting. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. By Ms. Terminelli, seconded by Mr. Lightfoot. Meeting finished, Zelda. Thank you, everyone.
That, for the record.
It is, wow, that 4 year.
You were on hold.
What